F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me. N is for anywhere and anytime at all.
Down here in the deep blue sea.
SpongeBob lover.
Cupcakes.
Playful.
Fun.
Spunky. Bubbly. Jen had this class together last semester. It was some type of photography class, and we would usually sit beside each other. And you know, the class was extremely boring. It was ridiculous. And so to pass time in the class, we would draw pictures like back and forth to each other. And I actually still have the pictures.
My favorite time with Jen was when me, her, Dana, and Shannon were walking down Sunset Boulevard and we saw P. Diddy.
Before Dallas, Jen told me, she looked at my nails and she said, "I like your nails." And she goes, "That's a pretty color." And every time we see each other, we just say that to each other, and it's just, oh my God, there's so many memories about Jen. She's gorgeous.
Jen and I used to have, and still do, have these things called RNs, and they're random nights. And one time sophomore year, we were supposed to go to AC Moore or Michael's, and we had to get something for a project that we were doing, but we also had to drop off these racquetball rackets to her brother's house. And we go in, and Tyler, his roommate, is like, "Oh, you guys want a beer?" And it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We really have to do this stuff. We're like, "Yeah, sure, we'll take a beer. Like, why are we gonna turn that down?" Well, 1 turned into 2, and 2 turned into 3, and before you know it, it's like 8 o'clock, and they're getting ready to go out. Well, we're not gonna miss this opportunity to go out, because this is what makes legendary evenings. So the two of us are like, "We will be back in a half hour." And they were like, "No way, you can't do it." Because we had to shower, do our hair, get ready. We're like, "We will be back in a half hour." We run over to Lenhart, where Jen lives. She showers, gets all of her stuff. We run to Rygard, where I live. I shower, get ready. And in 30 minutes, literally, we were back in Wellness. Funniest thing ever. So now they're like, all right, we're going to 16 Prince, which is right next to 18 Prince. Well, the line to the bathroom was very long at 16 Prince. So Jen and I walk around back and break into 18 Prince. We didn't really break in, the door was unlocked, but nobody was home. And use their bathroom. We come downstairs and we realize that there's Jell-O shots in the fridge for the party they're having the next night. So we decide that Jell-O shots are a lot better than warm keg beer. And we start taking some, and Lamar walks in. He's like, "You didn't get me one?" Doesn't question why we're in his house, doesn't question why we're eating his Jell-O shots. It's just like, "I'll have one too." And it just turned into this awesome night. I don't even really know how it ended, but it was a great time, and pictures are still on Facebook, so I can look back at them.
Jen was a co-creator of a show, BJ, which it was me, Jen, and a former person of MUTV, Tim Harris, who created the show. And it was basically a conglomeration of Dr. Phil and Live with Regis and Kelly. And our first episode premiered on MUTV, and it was actually the highest rated show MUTV has ever had. And of course, we did a second show. That never aired for reasons I will not go into here. But BJ, that will be my moment with Jen, and it was a great show, a lot of fun.
I see Jen working at Claire's, being like a big manager or like a regional manager and loving her life, and having little Jen babies working at Claire's with her.
Definitely working for radio, and probably she'll always keep that part-time job at Claire's on the side. I see Jen never growing up, always loving SpongeBob, cupcakes, you know, all that stuff. But hopefully she'll get that job in radio that she wants, so.
I think in 10 years, Jen is definitely gonna be working in promotions for a radio station.
I know she likes music, and I believe she wants to go into radio, and she definitely has the personality to do kind of the peppy radio show. I could even see her as a morning host on a local radio station and be very successful at it.
Jen, in 10 years, will be working for a radio station, and she will still be working at Claire's because deep down she really loves it. And she'll be living with Rosebud, and they will have endless conversations about cupcakes and SpongeBob, and they will try to catch flies with Easter eggs, and they will just love each other so much, and it'll be like walking into, you know, a playground every time you're there, and you can't not be happy around them.
What I miss most about Jen, she always kind of had that kind of little kid, carefree attitude about her. She always kind of talking like a little kid, very lighthearted, and I'm really gonna miss that about Jen because she really kind of lightened the mood every once in a while.
I'll probably miss her whenever she sings the campfire song, and just however she can have fun no matter what's the situation. She can always have fun. I don't think I've ever seen her mad once. So.
I think I miss the most about Jen is just her ability to lighten up a room when she comes in. She's always in a good mood and always very, her love of SpongeBob SquarePants and everything that goes along with that. Just, if she could, she would live in a pineapple under the sea.
I'm gonna miss her being my roommate. I'm gonna miss being able to talk to her whenever I can. Her always making me laugh and smile, and especially eating bologna and pickles late at night together.
I will miss the way that she makes up lyrics to songs. And I will miss the fact that she's always up for something and that she always will be there for you. And I will miss Wawa Bob Tom, our radio show. I don't know, I'll miss Jen. Sorry.
I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, princess, now when did you last let your heart decide?
Ryan's a really nice person.
She's very organized.
I would say friendly.
Friendly.
Ridiculous.
Wawa Bob Tom. She's just super duper.
A new fantastic point of view. No one to tell us no, or where to go, or say we're only dreaming. A whole new world.
The one memory I have about Ryann Dennis is my freshman year, we used to do something called the Mentee Mentor program, and she was my mentor. And I remember my freshman year, I was kind of intimidated by the MUTV classes. They were a very strong class. And all the time, Ryann would always come up to me saying, Mentee, you need to come to the show, you need to come to news, you need to do everything. And without her, I wouldn't have been able to help assistant produce news that following semester. So because of Ryann, I'm really involved in television and really involved in MUTV.
I don't know if it was my freshman or sophomore year, but Katie Maggs was having a birthday party and it was fiesta themed. And as the night got on and we were drinking a little more and more, we were all wearing sombreros, which I absolutely loved. And I was downstairs in the basement talking to Ryann or whatever, and I was just like, this cannot be a fiesta without Mexican mustaches. And I did this the rest of the night, and Ryann just lost it. She thought it was the funniest thing. So me and Ryann throughout the rest of the night, every time we passed each other, it was just like.
We've had a lot of RNs, aka random nights, but it was, I guess we were at Arby's with a bunch of people, and James Held calls us and he's like, let's play 100 Cup Pong. And we're like, yeah, sure, we're down. So I'm on Team WA, which is Team Wasted Awesome, with Lamar, Phil, and James. And we're just like sinking them, you know, we're drinking, so we're pretty gone at this point. And then we go to E courts, like 9E. I think we had a good time. So we come back and Ryan's like, all right, we have 3 options. We can either walk home alone, probably not a good idea. Walk home together, still probably not a good idea. Or we can stay in James's bed. I'm like, all right. So Lamar's like, James isn't gonna come back. We're like, okay. So we go upstairs and we see his bed, which looks huge at the time. So, you know, we borrow some shorts of his and put them on. We go to bed. In the middle of the night, James comes back and like we wake up and like I guess Ryan was like creeped out because I like scooched closer to her and she's like, all right, whatever, I guess she just wants to be close to me. But yeah, then in the morning, James is like, so, guys are in my bed, and we're like, we were told you weren't coming back.
Say what you need to say. 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 Say what you need to say.
She'll wind up getting a graduate degree of some kind and then using that in a management position.
Ryann in 10 years, she'll probably end up being a wedding planner, doing nothing with, comm at all, because she's so good at planning events and parties, and she's so hospitable. I think she's going to be a really great host and a good party planner.
I'm probably being some kind of event planner.
Definitely doing something to benefit other people.
I think Ryann will also be working in some sort of PR or sales firm.
Say what you need to say. 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 Say what you need to say.
I think what I noticed the most about Ryann is her morning shifts in the CER. She pretty much worked almost every Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the CER since probably second semester freshman year. And you always knew she would be there, and if you always had something to talk to or something to talk to her about, she's always there and she was always ready to listen to you. I don't think I'm gonna miss that about Ryann.
Ryann Dennis, I'm going to miss your laugh because I always love walking by the CER and hearing you cackle, or whatever you want to call it, while Mark is telling some crazy story.
Her laugh, I will miss her laugh.
I'm gonna miss her laugh. I'm gonna miss Ryan's laugh. It's so distinct and it always makes me smile. Her smile, being able just to hug her all the time, and especially her being my roommate. I'm gonna miss that.
Drunk Ryann. That's the best way I can put it. I will miss drunk Ryann.
What I'll miss most about Ryann is that not only is she, fun, exciting, just great to be around, but she's also serious when she needs to be. She's definitely come through for me for a lot of things, and I love that there's those two sides of her where I can laugh with her about absolutely nothing, but at the same time be like, Ryann, what do I do about this? And I'm gonna really miss her.
Kilgore is interesting.
Enthusiastic.
Best prom DJ ever.
Genuine.
Loves ridiculous sports.
British wannabe. Smooth.
Ideal life partner.
Magic. Music.
I remember freshman year before I met all the other comm majors, Gilgore and I used to walk to class together. It was the first week or two of class, and he was just so fun, and we became really good friends from there, and I'm gonna miss that.
The one story that really defines Shawn Gilgore as a person is we were doing intramural softball. It was our junior year. I was captain at the time, and Shawn was my co-captain. And Bobby was pitching, and as always for intramural softball, we're not very good, and we were losing pretty badly in this game. And the worst part about it was the last game of the season. It wasn't even playoffs, and it was pouring down rain, and they weren't going to call the game. And it was the very last inning for this team, and Bobby, with 2 outs, just could not throw a strike for the life of him. and I didn't know what to do, and I know Shawn had been itching to pitch all season long, but I needed him in the field because there wasn't really anybody else that could play the field like Shawn could. So he was just itching to pitch, and Bobby still could not throw a strike. She's like, okay. I went to Bobby on the hill. I had never replaced anybody in intramural softball before, and I said, Bobby, please give me the ball. And Shawn Gilgore, you're coming in to pitch. And Shawn came in to pitch. This poor girl's up at plate. Shawn throws 3 strikes to her and strikes the girl out. He does this biggest fist pump, like this Gilgore fist pump. I was like, Shawn, first of all, it's intramural softball. You don't have to get that fired up about it. But that's just like the epitome of Shawn Gilgore. I remember just doing that one fist pump.
In 10 years, hopefully Shawn Gilgore will be a household name because for some reason when he delivers the news, I feel like I can trust him.
Gilgore will have traveled the world in 10 years and he will settle down in some European country and he'll be married and probably have lots of little Gilgores running around. And he'll be just very happy and he'll be very successful and good at what he does.
If it's up to him, he'll be somewhere on the coast in England looking at the ocean from the other side of the pond.
He will be working for BBC. I am 100% certain of that. And he'll be sipping tea with the Queen and, we'll probably see him on Piers Morgan tonight.
In 10 years, I think Shawn will be a professional cricket announcer. I think from knowing Shawn the last 4 years, I'm very knowledgeable of sports like cricket and rugby, and now I'm getting very knowledgeable about the sport called Krona, which kind of sounds like a gym basketball game. It's a mixture between soccer and basketball. I don't know, he loves these ridiculous sports, and I think I'm gonna miss Shawn just coming up to me just about every week and saying, hey, have you heard about this sport?
Just ability to remain calm in stressful situations and, like I said, be smooth.
I'll miss that Gilgore will always tell you a story and will always be there for you to listen, and he'll always be there to help when you need him to be.
I'll miss him stopping by my office. He always has a good story for me.
I'm definitely gonna miss Gilgore's authenticity. He's one of the truest people to himself that I've ever met, and I think that's really refreshing in this day and age.
Some people call me the space cowboy. Yeah. Some call me the gangster of love. Some people call me Maurice. 'Cause I speak of the pompatus of love.
David Eby is full of many surprises.
Awkward. Silly.
Spacey.
Interesting.
Eby just now.
It's Dave Eby.
'Cause I'm a picker, I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, and I'm a sinner. I play my music in the sun. I'm a joker, I'm a smoker, I'm a midnight toker. I get my loving on the run.
Me and David Eby, I've never really known Eby for very long. I don't know him very well, but we've had this class together called Digital Imaging, and probably the one thing I'll always remember is no matter how busy I am or how into a project I can be, Eby will always come over and be like, Justo, can you help me with something? And I'm like, Eby, there's so many, and I come over and no matter how simple the project can be, he can make it so complicated, and there's layers and colors and everything is just a complete mess. And I go, Eby, you're just gonna have to start over every single time. But I love him, but still, crazy.
A sophomore year was when we first got to know Eby, and we went to a party at 18 Prince, which used to be our big party house. And Scott was away for the weekend, and his roommate Tim Harris, who goes to Temple now, was here, and the three of them were buddies. but everybody thought that Evie might like boys, or at least Tim did. And Evie got drunk, and he lived at home at the time, and he didn't want to drive home, so he asked Tim if he could stay in his room. And Tim was like, no, you can't. So the next day, I started hearing all these rumors that Evie got an underage. And I was like, how did he get an underage? He didn't drive home, he didn't walk around anywhere. He fell asleep in his car. And the police knocked on his window and were like, what are you doing? Because Tim wouldn't let him stay in their room. And I just remember that was my first real big impression of who Evie was. I was like, what was this kid thinking? Like, how could you do this?
He was reading the story at the very end. Bobby and he were both anchoring, and Bobby says, all right, well, that does it for News 99 Monday. I'm Bobby Bechtel. And Evie just sat there, and he's like, and then he does one of his things that Evie does, and then he just starts laughing, like he just completely didn't know what to say or what it was, and Bobby's just like, well, for David Evie, have a good night.
Thanks, Nate, and thank you for watching News 99. I'm Bobby Bechtel.
And I'm
alongside Dave Evie. Check us out at news99tv.com.
Have a great weekend.
I was producing news, and I remember he kept reading a story that every time the word said rap, he read it as rape. And he didn't realize it until about halfway through.
A rape by 4 teenagers at McDonald's has gotten them a bad rap in one in Utah City. The teens were cited by American Fork Police earlier this week for disorderly contact after they raped their order at McDonald's drive-thru. The teens said they were imitating a popular video on YouTube. They wrapped their order which begins with quote, I need a quote, I need a double cheeseburger and hold the lettuce, quote, excuse me, once quickly before repeating it more slowly. The employee in question felt that her quote, that her safety was at risk as a result of the alleged charges. Quote, as she contacted local authorities.
And I remember Devin Carr's dad was there, and I just kept thinking, wow, what an experience for him to see, like, oh, so this is what my daughter does.
This past year in acting class, he and Jenn were doing a skit, and I just remember he had a snap shirt on, and at the end of the skit, he ripped it off, and he went, it's ready. And that was the defining moment of our acting class, and it was hysterical, and I will never look at a snap shirt the same way.
We've been on the run, driving in the sun, looking out for #1. California, here we come, right back where we started from.
David Evie, in 10 years, hopefully you are in California being whatever kind of Hollister actor model you want to be.
Probably having better jobs than any of us in California, becoming an actor. I see Evie being like the go-to guy when I'm in the future, and I'll be like, yo, Evie, I need a job, or I need somewhere to stay in California, and he'll be there.
In California, acting, and having a good time and doing whatever he wants to do.
Evie will be living in California in 10 years, and he will be living with Tony, and the two of them will be doing whatever they can to pay rent, and they will just be having a great time. They were fun people, and that is what Evie will be doing, and he's going to be loving life, and he'll be good at whatever he ends up doing.
Probably everything, just his awkwardness. I mean, he's so much fun every time we see him. I mean, Dana and I wanted to annoy him and Tony when we went to Hollywood, and I mean, mission accomplished, but I'll just miss him in general.
The Evie awkwardness that is so essentially Evie, and so that's what defines him and just makes him such a fun person.
You know, as much as we make fun of Evie, he's such a good guy. He's so kind, soft-spoken, always willing to break the ice when needed. So I'm definitely just gonna miss his kind heart.
David Evie. Wouldn't trade him for diamonds, man.
Evie is definitely, you know, one of my best friends, if not my best friend here at Millersville. From freshman year until junior year, almost every memorable moment I've had, be it in MUTV or just outside of MUTV, has been with Evie, and so I'm definitely gonna miss my best friend.
Dana's really friendly.
Energetic. Driven.
Fun.
Peppy.
Peppy.
She's adorable.
I remember my favorite Dana story is from Nationals in New York City. Freshman year, it would have been. And I remember it was when Beth Ann was still with us and still at comm major. And we were mad at each other for something, me and Beth Ann. I don't remember what, but we were really mad. And I remember Dana was consoling Beth Ann and talking to Beth Ann, and then coming across the hall and talking to me and consoling me. And it was just the funniest thing. And then she'd be like, oh, I gotta go talk to Beth Ann now, and like go back over there.
That's our dance from the Federal.
Freshman year, when Dana and I hung out a lot, we decided one night that we were bored and we're gonna go watch a movie. And I was talked into watching 28 Weeks Later. And I am not a huge horror movie fan, but it was getting to be the time when Blockbuster started to be closing. And we were like, we gotta go get this movie, So we ran down the stairs at the bar, grabbed our keys and everything, went to Blockbuster right up on 462. And as I'm about to get out of the car, there's this little tiny spider, but I am deathly afraid of spiders. And I could just see it coming down, and I saw it on the window, but then I saw it go back up over the door, like I'm in the passenger side. I'm like, I know the spider's here somewhere. I gotta get out of this car. So I flung the door open, because we also had to get in the Blockbuster as quick as we could. We flung the door open, and as I was flinging the door open, there's this car sitting next to me, and I hit the car sitting next to me. I've never seen Dana so pissed off at me in my entire life. It was to the point where she didn't even want to go into Blockbuster with me. She went into Blockbuster to get the movie and came back out, and I was still sitting in the car just like feeling like complete crap because I nicked this guy's car next to me, and she was so pissed off at me.
Scott, Dana, and Evie and I went to visit Tim Harris at Temple. And I mean, honestly, that trip was all in all just kind of a disaster. I mean, like, it's definitely Tim's scene, but we were all like, a little weirded out. But we're at this party, and it's Scott, Dana, and I were inside, and we look out the window, and Evie's smoking a cigarette. And Dana's like, is that Evie smoking a cigarette? And we're like, I guess. And she's like, well, come here. So I'm like, okay. So I follow her outside, and she looks at Evie, and she's like, are you smoking a cigarette? And he's like, yeah, so. And he's like, if I ever see you smoking another cigarette, I'll punch you in the face like this. Rocks him in the face. And I'm like, and then she like walks away. I'm like standing there stunned, and Evie's like, what the heck? So I go back inside, and Dana's like, I punched Evie in the face. And me and Scott are like, oh my gosh.
10 years, Dana will be married, and she will have lots of little Danas running around. And she might still be working at the Bird, because she loves working at the Bird so much. And she will be doing marketing or coordinating for some company, because I think that would be something that she'd be very good at.
Since she's such a personable person, I see her in the marketing realm, definitely.
Well, I also see Dana becoming a teacher. She originally came here as a high school video alum. So I can definitely see her becoming a high school video editing teacher and then bringing them to high school video in the future.
I feel like I could see her doing an entertainment show, being a co-host with someone. Her and Scott have really good chemistry. I've seen their past work, and I really think that, you know, she'll have good chemistry with someone else, hopefully make it to New York or something.
I think Dana is a very good broadcaster and editor, but I think she's going to kind of go away from that, and I can really see her working in PR or sales somewhere.
I'll miss how Dana always makes everything fun.
I will miss that Dana likes roommate time, and Dana enjoys spontaneity, and that she is a nice person who you just, you know, you can sit down and talk with Dana and you can have fun with Dana. I love how much fun Dana is, and I will miss that she, you know, is just always up for an adventure, and she's a fun person. I love that about her.
Her school loyalty and her loyalty to the department have always been a real high point for me. She's a good person to draw that energy from.
Probably just this year, because I mean, like, we'd always been friends, but this year, since we've been living together, and especially Hollywood, we just like became really close. And I mean, we do share a bathroom in my room, so you gotta kind of become close because of that.
She's so happy all the time. I'm gonna miss that. She's always a ray of sunshine to come in.
Dana's just a bubbly person, and I think that she's just a very fun-loving person. She likes to have fun. She doesn't really get worn down by the seriousness of life, and I think that rubs off positively on other people. I know it's rubbed off positively on me.
I think what I'm going to miss the most about Dana is definitely the radio show together. We've had that radio show for 4 years now, and it's been the funnest time. We just kind of sit around at the radio station, like make fun of pictures of cats and like fat kids falling off a branch, and just all these fun times with Dana. Just like everything just at the radio station was the best time, I think, probably at my college career. I'm really, really going to miss that.
Shawn Eckert is persistent.
Eckert has big ideas.
Driven.
Eckert, in one word, is a perfectionist.
Career-driven.
Perfectionist.
A-type personality.
Driven.
Over the summer, I spent my entire summer at Millersville, and this also includes Ryan Fluharty. I spent one entire evening with Fluharty and Eckert, and they invited me over for a barbecue. So it was me and those two, and all we did was have a good summer dinner. We had burgers and all that stuff, and then later we went to go see Dinner for Schmucks. It was a pretty much good entire summer evening with those two boys, and that's one thing I'll remember.
Eckert, freshman year, Tom Gorman had the Milk and Cookies party for MUTV, and I am pretty sure it was Eckert who thought that it was literally going to be milk and cookies, and I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, is it really milk and cookies? Because I totally thought that it was something different. And I mean, we got there, and obviously it was milk and cookies, and but not milk and cookies like Eckert thought, and it was just a really funny thing, and I just remember that for some reason. I remember it being him, and I don't know, it just made me laugh so hard, and still does to this day.
Definitely Eckert playing at MUTV Man Day, playing tackle football.
I mean, he was just a beast out there.
I remember freshman year, he inboxed me. It was like the second week of school, and he inboxed me and wanted to know if I wanted to go to lunch with him. And I was like, no, I'm kind of busy. And then I was talking to the other girls in our major too, and he asked every single one of them, and we were all like, who is this guy? What's going on?
Okay, this was last semester in acting class, and Ryan was trying to blow up balloons, and like they were, I guess they were like from the MBS stuff, and like the balloons were really hard to blow up. So I'm like making a joke. I'm like, we're all about to like pass out trying to blow these balloons up. 2 seconds later, like he passes out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, are you okay? I felt like such a jerk, but I mean, like he was fine. But like me and Ryan were just standing there like, what do we do?
I definitely see him as something in news, either a news reporter or a producer, director, something like that. So he'll definitely be in news. I have a feeling that's his calling and that's what he'll do.
I see Eckert working in government. Whether or not he is a politician or doing media for them, he will be involved in that whole scene. I think that he'll be living in DC. I don't even know if that's something that he wants, but I see him there. I see him behind the scenes, I see him up front. I see Eckert being in DC doing big things and being a politician of some kind. He's very into that, and I think that's great for him.
I think he will wind up being a very successful salesman.
I see Eckert in 10 years in either a news setting or a government setting. Within production though, he'll definitely be somewhere as a producer or public relations or even sales and marketing.
A very determined individual to get what he wants in life. So I see him, definitely he's a very newsy person, definitely getting a good job at a top 50 market station. He might get tired of that and go into sales. Either way, I see him being very determined to get what he wants in life.
In 10 years, I really hope Shawn will become a producer or director somewhere, maybe back home in Michigan. But I really, really hope that Shawn becomes his dream of a big-time news producer or director.
The one thing I'll probably miss the most about Eckert is his ability to just keep in touch with everybody. No matter how busy he is, no matter how busy we are, he always wants to say hi to you or make sure, even if it's on Facebook, he'll be like, hey, how are you doing? His ability to keep in touch is something that I really admire.
I will miss that Eckert rushes in and out everywhere, and you always know that he's doing something important because of the way that he is moving and the fact that he wants to get things done and he wants them done correctly, and that is what I will miss about Eckert. You never really know what's going on, but you know that Eckert is doing something.
Shawn always took it upon himself to see a problem and address it. And there were a couple of times where I was so grateful that he did that.
I'm gonna miss Eckert's motivation the most. He's definitely one of those people who knows what he wants and he knows what he's willing to do to get it. And I think Travel U is a great example of that. And I think it's something we're really gonna miss here at MUTV and I'm gonna miss personally.
He always gives advice. I know that several times he's been, giving me advice, Sam, I think you should move the lights here or there. So it's good to have that feedback.
What I'll miss most about Shawn is he was really dedicated to everything that he did. If he had his mind set on doing one thing, he was going to do it, and he was going to do it to the very best of his ability. And I think that can be very admirable, and I think I'm going to miss that about Shawn.
Who is the technical guru?
Technical.
Mad scientist.
Nerd.
Smart. Fun.
Always on the go.
The dancing and the women.
Flu party.
Nothing against the big town. Still hayseed enough to say, look who's in the big town. But my bed is in a small town. Oh, that's good enough for me. Well, I was born in a small town, and I can breathe in a small town.
When him and I were locked out of our room for an hour and a half, and we were both not in the right state of mind, and our ideas that we were coming up with on how to open our door involved like putting something underneath and grabbing the door handle, and then we were going to break the door down in the hotel, and then we decided to go to the concierge, and then it was a whole big mess.
My favorite story about Fluey would be, I wasn't really there, but I was there. It was comm prom. And me and my roommates talk about it all the time. It was last year, comm prom. And he was being videotaped, and he was like, the dancing and the women! And for some reason, I had to say that. It's so funny. Sorry, Fluey, this was so funny how you said that.
The dancing, man! The dancing and the women!
So back when the whole group of us was taking the 101 class, 201, 301, 401, we all got together and we studied for each of the big tests coming up. And I remember for 201, it was just all of us, the whole seniors, all took the classes together. And we're studying for Dr. Umble's 201 test in the library. We always checked out one of the big conference rooms in the library. It was getting really late one night, and the library was closing down. And we were just kind of getting all loopy from studying everything. And we were just going around saying everyone's names, like really kind of in a weird way. And then like we were all kind of laughing. All of a sudden I just came out of nowhere. I was like, Fluharty, and like this weird Irish Fluharty. And then everyone was starting to do it. It was so funny.
I close my eyes, only for a moment, and the moment's gone. All my dreams pass before my eyes, a curiosity, just in the wind. All they are is dust in the wind.
In 10 years, I see Fluey being some sort of studio or set designer somewhere. Maybe designing the audio for a theater, something along that nature. And I think, something tells me I think he's still gonna film some weddings here and there.
I see Fluey in 10 years definitely owning his own production company and doing everything pretty much independently because he's just so smart and he knows how to do everything.
In 10 years, Flu is probably, hopefully, going to have his own video production company, and he is going to be in charge of everybody, making his own videos and pretty much dominating whatever medium is out there at the time.
I definitely see him at Heart Productions, and hopefully that's bigger and better than it already is. I see his production company getting really big, and I see him, expanding to bigger and better things with Heart Productions and being a really successful person in this business because he has always tried very hard and he's always been proactive since we were freshmen. And I know that he will make a great name for himself because that is what Flu wants to do and that is where he will be.
All we are is dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. Dust in the wind. Everything is dust in the wind. Everything is dust in the wind.
The one thing I'll miss the most about Ryan is his ability to keep me calm. All the time he's always trying to make sure that I'm doing okay, and he has this sense of compassion And he's always like, it's gonna be okay, Jesto. It's gonna be okay, Kim Landis. It's always gonna be okay to whoever it is. And I really enjoy that quality about him.
I will miss going to Gordon Ear and always knowing that Fluey will be there, because I don't think the kid ever leaves.
Reliability, one of those people who just did it, never looked for any talent or feedback or whatever, just happy to have gotten things accomplished. I will miss that.
What I'll miss most about Fluey was his reliability. If I ever asked Ryan to do anything, he was always more than willing to help do it, and especially with the mobile production, he was such a big help, and I really can't thank him enough for all of his work for that.
There's two things I'm going to miss about him. One, on a professional level, he's been very, very helpful with the MPU. Behind the scenes, he's taken a lot of time out of his personal day to come out and just work on the little things in MUTV, and that's something that a lot of people haven't taken the initiative to do. And so I really appreciate him for that. And the other thing I'm really going to miss is just him as a person. He's been a really good friend to me this year, and I've gotten to know him a lot better, and I'm going to miss his friendliness and his openness.
What I'm going to miss most about Fluey is that he is very candid. He's a little bit outspoken, but not too much. And most importantly, he's my brother. He's a brother to me.
Scott is humble.
6-year-old kid.
He's selfless.
He knows his stuff.
Loyal.
Happy.
Fun.
Mr. Dedication.
Nice guy.
Mine.
One happened 2 days ago. We were in class and I had looked over here and I turned around and Scott was sitting 2 seats behind me and I didn't see him come in. I was really confused about why he came in. And I said, Scott, how did you get in here? And he goes, call me Hermione Granger because I got a time turner.
This semester, Scott, for some reason, thought that he could skip more classes than I could, which if you know me at all, I hate going to class and not my proudest moment, but 1st to 15 won a case of beer, which I'm still waiting on. And I don't know, he just thought he thought he could beat me. And we were tied at one point and I knew that wasn't gonna happen. So all of a sudden I texted him one morning after I didn't come to class, I was like, I win. And that was it, and he was mad and it was really funny, and I don't know, it just makes me laugh. Scott, I'm always thinking.
Prom of last year. We had gone out, you know, whatever. Had gone back to my place. At this point, he went in to brush his teeth and kind of just sit around, which is fine. Jesto was over at the time. She was in New York City, had come down for the weekend. And I remember I was in my room and Jess and Scott were arguing about who should go in the bathroom first. Well, Jess ended up winning. And I don't hear anything from Scott. So I come out of my bedroom and I walk into the living room where he's sitting, and he's sitting on my little couch just like this. And I said, babe, what you doing? And he looks at me and he goes, I'm being a good boy. And I broke down laughing because it was just the way he said it. And I said, yes, babe, you're being a very good boy.
A lot of people don't realize that Scott gets very serious about his video games. I remember there was a YouTube video from his freshman year where Tim, his old roommate, filmed him while he was playing video games. And at that same time, he was playing, I forget what game, but he got killed in the game and he stood up like, and just, it was the weirdest noise possible. And then he proceeded to cuss out the TV screen.
Oh my god, you! He's the last guy left and he comes popping in like under the shotgun. Who does that? Who does that? Who the does that? Who comes out of that and call her the damn shotgun? Not me. It ain't my baby. Who does that? Nobody. Where's my damn shotgun?
I have a little plastic man in my car that I saw Scott give away one just like it to a kid at laser tag 2 years ago. And the kid was just walking along and he said, "Hey, you want this?" And this kid's face brightened up, and Scott made that kid's day and just turned around and left and had no idea just how impressed I was for him to give that little thing.
Freshman year, we were eating at the galley together, and I threw my keys away in the trash can. And at that time, we both lived in Bard, and I had to park by Pasillo because that was free parking. And we were going back to the dorm, and I didn't have my keys, I didn't have my card, and we were freaking out. And it was the coldest night in the winter. It was like dead middle of December or January, I don't remember which month. But we were both, he was such a trooper, we both put our hats on and gloves, and we walked out, I'm not even kidding you, for a good hour. We went all the way up to Pasillo, and we followed everywhere that I walked. We went everywhere, everywhere. And then I realized that, he's like, well, maybe you threw them away at the galley, so we had to dig through the trash. And he dug through the trash with me, and then we found my keys. So I knew he was going to be a true friend forever.
I think Scott will be a very successful person. He's very good at what he does.
I think he's going to wind up behind the scenes, but he'll if he wants to work in some sort of major league sports venue, he will.
The O's. I mean, he's going to be with the O's, and he'll probably be doing something great, whether it's editing for them, filming for them, maybe on TV, I don't know. He'll do whatever he wants to do because he has the drive to get there.
I see Scott working for the Ravens or the Orioles. He loves both of those teams a lot. He's done internships with them, and he's good at it. And I know that they like him there, so hopefully that's where he is. Or even moving on to bigger and better things on, up higher. I don't know. I just know that he'll do really well in sports, and I know that that's what he loves to do.
To my friends in New York, I say hello. My friends in LA, they don't know where I've been for the past few years or so. Paris to China to Colorado. Sometimes there's airplanes I can't jump out. Sometimes it's bullshit that don't work. Now we got our stories, but please tell me what there's to complain.
The thing I will miss the most about Scott is just his willingness to always help. If I ever have a question, sometimes I feel like I can't come to other people, but I could come to Scott 100 times and I know that I could come to him one more time because I know he'll always willing to help, and I'm definitely gonna miss that next year.
His ability to be collective and calm, even in the most important situations.
His laugh, probably.
No matter what, you can go to Scott and he will make you laugh. Whether he means to or not, Scott will make you laugh.
Just him being around, I guess, just kind of having somebody I can talk, Maryland sports with, or he's we're pretty much the same person. We live relatively close and we like the same things, and but probably his presence around the studio, when Scott's around because things are working so much smoother.
He's been this calming influence. He got me going in the station, and I'm just gonna miss him for him. He's just been a great guy and a great part of this organization.
His dedication, I'll miss his work ethic. I have not had a station manager work that hard, ever.
I don't know if there's one thing in particular I'm gonna miss about Scott. I think I'm gonna miss everything about Scott, and I think everyone's gonna miss everything about Scott. He was the best station manager MUTV has ever seen, and if you ask anybody, they're gonna agree with you on that one. And I'm just gonna miss working with him. I always told him that, I would never work with you again because it's complicated. But if I ever had the chance, I would do it again in a heartbeat. And the other thing about Scott is that he's just a good person to talk to. He's been my best friend for the last year and a half, if not more. So it's gonna be very difficult to see him move on and not be here, but I'm really excited for him. So
I love you, babe. Can't wait to see what you do. You're gonna be very successful.
To complain about.
You know, this class has a lot of characters. You have a lot of people that are very committed, and then you have people who also like to have fun. But most importantly, they're family. They're family to me. There's no infighting amongst the group. Everyone just gets along. And I think a lot of that comes out of actually freshman seminar when we all had class together. And we were able to completely gel and have been great friends ever since. And I'm gonna miss that because, you know, come May 7th, that's gonna be the last time that all of us are gonna be here on campus. You know, we could be halfway across the country by June. So I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss the friends that I've made here. I'm gonna miss the things I've done in MUTV. They've helped me out a lot.